Greetings, Father Joe here, your friendly neighborhood pastor, coming to you from St. Patrick's Church in lovely Highland Mills, New York. Today is the feast of St. John, Apostle and Evangelist, and we have a wonderful reading in our Gospel. It reminds us, I think, to be humble and community-oriented. In John's Gospel, he refers to himself as the apostle that Jesus loved. He doesn't do this as some kind of a bragging thing. He does this because it represents all of us. We are loved by Jesus. Peter often then is representative of the hierarchical church or the institutional church or the collective church. And so there's always this interplay between the group and the individual. And I think nowhere is this seen better than Peter and John both run to the tomb. And John, because he's younger, he gets to the tomb first. But he waits. Please note, John was one who stood at the cross. He was one who was faithful. He did not abandon Jesus. He did not deny Jesus. He was there. And yet, when he gets to the tomb, he waits for St. Peter. Now, Peter comes and he sees what is there. Then John comes in and John sees and believes. It's important for all of us to take what the church has seen and to believe it. But also, it is important for us to, when we experience something, to use the church as a ruler or a guide, something that we can hold it up to and say, oh, does this fit with everything else? St. Augustine has a wonderful little piece called On Christian Doctrine, and most of it is on our interpretation of Scripture. And he says if you read Scripture and you interpret it personally, and someone else reads Scripture and they interpret it personally, what happens if your interpretations are in conflict? And he says, well, then you go to the church. Because we need some authority greater than ourselves. This is an act of humility. John, again, who was the beloved disciple, who was always faithful, he still waits for St. Peter. And similarly, we may get insights. We need to always bounce them off the church or see if they fit the public revelation. This is another good way to think about it. Private revelation and public revelation. Are we in line or in communion with the church? It is not, it's an act of humility. It's an act of love for other people to say, I may have thought this, but I'm going to wait and see if this is reasonable, if this is in line with the rest of the church. God bless you.